When I was first diagnosed, I didn't tell anybody for a year and I had a breakdown.
Tracy only shared her secret with husband Colin.
And I actually thought I had something that was going to kill me. I didn't know anything about MS.
Until Tracy made contact with another MS patient, she knew nothing about the National MS Society or its local branch.
My GP put me in touch with someone else from branch that he knew also had MS. And she contacted me, and straight away I thought, oh my God, I'm not the only person in the world that's got MS.
Discovering she wasn't alone made a huge difference to Tracy's life.
They've just done so much, and just the fact that they've been there, you know, when you're at your lowest of your low and you've got someone you can phone up and say, help. And that, I think, it just is everything.
After that first year of isolation, it's now very different for Tracy. Supported by her MS specialist nurse, Margaret Topping, she now gives back by volunteering in her local support group.
The voluntary sector or support team are really important to me and within my role, and certainly from my day-to-day working experience, that has cut down on lots of the phone calls that I get, because people now support each other and have gone on to have their own support groups. The MS support team also run information clinics on a monthly basis at our local day centre. They run carers groups as well, and also men's support groups, which are really important, and yeah, very valuable that we all work together. We work as a team, which is great.
Margaret works with the ASH Integrated Care Team, as does Claire Kinnersley, a Hampshire County Council occupational therapist. The ASH ICT is run by community matron Jo Butcher, who already has close links with the voluntary sector.
We particularly work with the hospice and the hospice at home service with a lot of our patients with long-term conditions. Some of the patients we see will also access age concern activity clubs, and those are very useful in terms of trying to prevent social isolation. People with long-term conditions are obviously often have problems with low mood, social isolation, and this helps get them out and about. But I think there's a lot more that we can probably look to, and a lot more possibilities of joining up with voluntary services.
Working with Jo is social worker Lisa Beadle. Together they believe even closer partnerships with volunteer groups is the obvious next step.
I think within Overton it's such a community village. The community and the voluntary sector is the hub of the village. Everyone comes to the doctor or to adult services when they really need something, whereas they choose to go to voluntary services more by choice. So actually if they can have a combined service whereby the statutory services within the village are working with the voluntary community groups, it makes it more accessible and it opens the door to more people.
Opening the door to more people is something Southern Health, North Hampshire Clinical Commissioning Group and Hampshire County Council are committed to. And last year the County Council worked with others to create a new community scheme called the Village Agents.
Right. Well, we could give them a ring.
It's something that the Older People's Wellbeing team at Hampshire County Council initiated, and they work with Age Concern Hampshire to find volunteers who can work in some of the smaller rural parishes.
Hello, Village Agents, Sarah speaking. Okay, yes, no, we are running computer courses.
The idea being that there's somebody who can offer face-to-face support to older people and give them information about what services are there for them.
Okay, yes, I can find that out for you. No problem. I'll give you a call back fairly soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
They are trained by Age Concern Hampshire and Hampshire County Council, and we've been quite fortunate in Hart. Actually, we've got about 5 or 6 now working across the district, and they give time, a regular amount of time each week, and they are there, and they become known as being a really useful point of contact.
We need to get Alan to do the leaflets. Yeah. It might be.
We've long been aware of the limitations of what statutory services can provide. I think to some extent we've always relied on the voluntary sector, but in a rather disorganised way. I mean, we haven't worked with them. We assumed that the patient would find their additional support from within that area. Whereas I think what we now have is a plan to develop a partnership and to work more closely.
Part of the plan is an initiative called Building Health Partnerships. North Hampshire CCG has been selected to work with voluntary groups to come up with something new.
One thing we have considered possibly is how volunteering, how we can add new volunteering roles to support individual GP surgeries, and we've got a really good example already with the village agents, which is being delivered in Hampshire. So one idea we came up with was surgery agents. What about a surgery agent, somebody who's attached to a particular surgery, who can do some of that signposting support that the village agents are doing for older people.
It's this kind of thinking that will see integrated care teams driving better outcomes for patients by bringing together the huge expertise and commitment of voluntary and community groups.